So I'm your moderator, Brandon Klein. I'm part of the AFWERX team and will help make sure this is interactive and as engaging as a panel can be. But let's start with introductions. And rather than me ramble on about these guys, why don't each of you take 30 seconds to introduce yourself. And as an added bonus, when you introduce yourself, if you want to include one fun fact, whether it's base security related or not, everybody would greatly appreciate that. So Brian, let's have you start.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Big shout out to you and to AFWERX for making this possible. It's definitely our pleasure to participate in the panel and in the entire Fusion event. My name is Brian Meyer, and I'm the president of AFWERX. We are a robotic and technology company that is offering our drone landing platform and associated drones for the future of installation security. Our robotic system and associated drones are the first fully automated system to ever operate on an active Air Force base. We operated at Tinker Air Force Base for full 30 days and accomplished over 70 fully automated missions and 10 manned, unmanned teaming missions. We have our own drones that we interface with our robot. They're becoming smarter and highly capable at image recognition, automation, reaction to sensors, and continuous operation. But we are a drone agnostic company, so we can use any kind of drone on our system. And as long as the manufacturer is willing to make their system compatible, we can interface and make their system continuous. So that's kind of what we do. And we're excited to be here, excited to talk about base security, base perimeter security specifically. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Destino, you're going to go next. Nick, I'm just going alphabetical order. No judgment here. Just Destino's next.
Hi, Destino Rivera. I'm the CEO of Atlantean Technologies and the patent holder of Wave Killer. Wave Killer is an underwater air curtain, actually perimeter wall, anchored to the ocean floor, turns everything from the ocean floor to the surface into a gas, air. It denies the passage of ocean waves, as well as undersea drones, vessels, and divers. We're based out of Long Island, New York.
Thank you, Destino. Great to meet you. Look forward to hearing your answers. Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon, and pleasure to be here. So I'm Nick McCarter, CEO of Chartis Federal and Periscope Aviation. At Periscope Aviation, we build high-performance tactical UAVs. So our mission, we're aiming to replace the capabilities of full-size aircraft with UAS in situations where you do not want to risk human life, put people in danger, or it's cost prohibitive to use a full-size aircraft. So we specialize in heavy lift, both tethered and untethered, and we do long-range ISR, but we're really trying to push the limits of what UAVs can do in flight performance today, and you're seeing some of the results of that. I guess fun fact that we've recently been working on and pretty cool accomplishment. So we flew 55 pounds for 20 kilometers on a small UAS. I mean, these are small drones that we're flying. We flew 55 pounds for about 20 kilometers, and that resulted in a contract with the Marine Corps that we're working on now, where they loved that for tactical resupply. So we're bringing equipment to the front line. That's now resulted in they wanted more. So in February, we're delivering the Mark IV RX, which will carry 100 pounds, 25 kilometers. And again, these are drones that can fit in the back of a pickup truck or a Suburban, and can carry some pretty extensive payloads. That's
very impressive.
Us in a nutshell.
Thanks, Nick. So we've got a bunch of people watching here today, and I would love it if we can get questions from the audience for these guys. We've got some questions prepared. The intent of this is to do rapid fire questions and answers. So audience, I'll help you try to keep them honest. Feel free to use the raise hand function in there to keep them honest and to keep their answers sharp and snappy. I've trained them, but I'm not sure they listen to me. So audience, I'll help you try to keep this sharp and snappy. But we would also love your questions. So there's lots of you watching. Please submit your questions. I'll kind of curate those questions. The panelists can also see them too. So if they take one, by all means, take one. But let's get started with our first one. Does waterborne perimeter security in the ocean hurt the environment or marine life? And can the environment and marine life affect the perimeters? Who'd like to take that?
That will go to me. And the system contains air, nothing other than that. It's only turned on when you need it. So if there's no hurricanes or anything like that, system doesn't go on. no threat of drones and stuff like that, no problem. Sharks, we can keep them out. And that's basically it in the nutshell. As far as fish and stuff like that, they'll always pick up the bubbles from the perimeter wall on their lateral lines, and they won't approach it.
All right. Nick, Brian, you guys want to comment on that too? I know it's focused on Destino, that one, but did he keep on time? Was that good enough?
That was great.
Awesome.
Good for me.
All right, let's keep a more open question here going then. Continuing technological development is very important to our Air Force. Name one technological development that would push the Air Force into the future with regards to base security.
I'll take that one.
Go for it.
I got 3 answers for that: automation, automation, and automation. I think everybody can agree with the human factor being somewhat limited going forward into the future, and the way to get base security to be improved, or even a perimeter security, is a manned unmanned teaming. But the automation portion of that, taking the larger load as time goes by, is what really is going to revolutionize and future-proof the way things need to happen in base security. Of course, the backup of the automation. So if you send a single drone out to look at a specific site, or a single underwater sub specific site, if it becomes disabled, someone shoots it out of the sky, or anything that happens, you've got to have a backup plan. And so our mantra at my specific company has been, you have a backup, and you have a backup for the backup. And so that's the reason why we launched drones in succession, so that they are having a backup for the same exact mission. And then secondly, proactive automated protection. There's a lot of threats out there today in perimeter security, not just from ground-based humans trying to breach perimeters or anything of that nature, but what's coming soon that we're going to see a lot of is drone threatening the perimeter of a base. And so there must be a little bit of proactive automated protection as well. So those are that would be my 2 answers to the automated security, and the future, of course, to base security.
I thought you were going to give 3 answers with starting with 3 automations, but 2 is good.
3 automations. Yeah, I mean,
Nick, do you want to follow up with that?
Yeah, I love Brian's answer of the automation. I mean, couldn't agree with him more. I think the other piece that comes into this is the integration of all base systems. So we're collecting so much data these days, and there's so much information being collected at the edge from drones, from personnel, from different patrols. But having all that data integrated into the back office systems and into the operating systems that it takes to run a base is integral. So we go out, we provide situational awareness with a long range drone. That's only good for the operator that is actually seeing that data at that point. So right now, that's what you're seeing a lot of, is people are collecting video, they're collecting surveillance information, collecting all sorts of information. But now what do you do with it? So making sure you can get that information back to an operating center so that we can make informed decisions on how to handle potential threats, active threats, and provide the users with a common operating model.
Sweet. So we have one question from the audience right now. Let's start with that one, because it's kind of fun. So Misty must be watching the Agility Prime work, because she's calling them orbs instead of UAVs or any other term for drones. How do you see flying orbs working into base security measures? Let's do like just 20 seconds from each of you on that, and then I'll go back to the pre-configured question. So Destino, Brian, Nick, real quick answers to that one. How do you see flying orbs working into base security measures?
I see, being able to identify specific threats, whether they be on the water, under the water, or, yeah, that's basically it. Being able to identify threats.
Brian?
From a practical standpoint, we actually integrated with the security forces just a little bit at Tinker Air Force Base, and the manned-unmanned teaming, where they had a control center in their security office, and being able to remotely launch the system at any time, specifically associated with alarm systems that they already had in place, specifically associated with areas that they were not able to get to on an hourly basis, kind of a nightmare situation. So they were specifically worried about a fence jumper at a specific location that they were not able to watch very well. Having that control center, or the ability to automatically respond to an alarm, was very important to them. And then having that data delivered back down, like Nick was saying, delivered to them immediately and instantly where they could act on it. So the manned unmanned teaming is how I see it integrating with the security measures, with base security measures. And then one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that at bases, there are already, on a lot of hostile areas, there are already multiple sensors based all around the base. So some of them watch for inbound mortars, and some of them have pressure sensors, some have specific fence sensors, and some of them we can't even discuss. Integrating those with the flying drone or flying orb, like you're saying, is very, very pertinent for integrating with the security forces.
Great. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, Brian just covered a lot of we're both offering similar solutions, so you covered a lot of it, but I would say the other piece of this is we call UAVs are used as a force multiplier. So we're always running out of resources, whether it's money or people. How do you do more with less? And whether it's coupling manned and unmanned together, that's one option, or there's situations where you don't even need to have a manned unit at all. If you think about surveillance, base surveillance can be somewhat repetitive if you're doing it in, if you're just trying to get a good view of the base perimeter on a regular basis. You wouldn't necessarily need to use forces that you would typically have, or have a patrol that's constantly monitoring. So you can leverage those manned patrols and forces for other jobs and take away workload from them so they can be leveraged in more efficient manners. So I think that we call it, it's a force multiplier.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. The questions are rolling in from the audience now. Panelists, can you see those? Sometimes people just write to me, the host, but can you guys see those as well?
I can only see
right,
one.
I'll follow in with the next one. So this one's from Joseph Lyons. What tasks would you want to be automated, i.e., where would the automation best fit within base security? And Brian, I think you started that automation, so you want to give a quick answer, and then Nick, I presume you guys have answers too.
Sure. The most boring and going to be the most common, at least in non-hostile zones, is just going to be a standard perimeter security. Whenever you have such a large area and so relatively few amount of people to man that large perimeter area, being able to actually go and to look not just for personnel trying to breach the zone, but more specifically in non-hostile zones, it's going to be wildlife trying to breach the perimeter. And so part of the security apparatus is not just keeping us safe from hostiles, but also keeping us safe from things like coming on the runway and hitting and striking an aircraft, anything that might be trying to breach that perimeter. So the drone being able to physically take a look at a perimeter area that might be in a heavily wooded spot, that might be in a very remote spot, or that might be a gate that has blown down, somebody ran it through, or in Tyndall's case, a hurricane came through and wiped it all out. So being able to make that perimeter patrol is going to be a primary application for the security forces.
Yep. So the other piece of this is, I think, going in line with base of the future, a lot of the times we're thinking of traditional bases where they're fixed infrastructure and there's a fixed perimeter. We'd like to envision the base of the future is a little bit different, and extending the perimeter to a much larger virtual footprint. So when you have drones and UAVs, you're not just now limited to the actual gates or the perimeter of the fixed infrastructure. You can now go out farther, and without setting up infrastructure and assets, extend the virtual perimeter of the base, and you can assess potential threats before they become real threats to anyone on the base. So if you see suspicious activities, send out a long-range UAV that can go out, provide to the question, what can we automate? You can automate that patrol to go out and see what's going on. Go out 10 kilometers, go out 15 kilometers off base, because you see something that might be suspicious, or you hear about something that's suspicious. Let's see if it's an actual threat before we put any real person in danger, and before anyone on the base is actually in danger. So you're automating that ability to assess threats, both on the base, but even more importantly, in specific areas around the base.
Cool. Thanks, Nick. Justino, I noticed your internet might have gone down a little bit. Those guys got an answer. Do you want to give your answer here too? Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, you're back. Go for it. Your answer.
Okay. Yeah, for my system, we're a sealed air system. We always air. The system's ready to go to work at a moment's notice. So I can see it as satellites being able to identify a threat. I can also see buoy systems being able to pick up which there are several of them out there on the market, being able to pick up underwater threats to be able to say, hey, we've got a diver in the water, or we have a drone that's coming into the base. So therefore, it would be able to activate the system. We also have buoys. We have people who have buoys that can actually speak and activate the system, but to be able to let everybody know that Wave Killer is about to be activated. So if there's any boats or anything like that in the area, there's a warning that goes out to the general public. Wave Killer systems are about to be activated, and please stay out of the buoy line. And within moments' notice, they'd be able to power the system up.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. We've got a couple more questions coming in, but let me ask one of the more current ones first because of the current pandemic we're in. As a result of this current pandemic, it is clear that we need to focus on mitigating future threats. How do UAVs and other defense mechanisms come into play, and how does that relate to base security with the obvious pandemic that we're in right now?
Yep, Brian, I can take that one. So I mean, we're in a crazy time right now with the pandemic and how we can respond to that. And again, think about how do we react as things like this happen in the future. Drones and UAVs offer contactless interaction. So everyone's trying to avoid contact and socially distance. You no longer have to have physical contact if it's unknown who you're interacting with. So again, the example I gave earlier, if you're going to go check on a disturbance or a threat outside the base, you don't need to go and send someone physically to interact with them. So we're providing a lot more capability on contactless interaction. Less relevant for base security, but still relevant in how do UAVs handle the pandemic and types of situations like that is in supply delivery. So you can do total contactless supply delivery. You need to get PPE or med kits or supplies to a certain location without any human interaction, leverage automation, leverage fully autonomous flight, automatically release the payload, come back, no contact, and hoping to mitigate the spread of viruses.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Justino, you want to go next and then Brian?
Yeah, our system, as far as our system goes, we really have no application to be able to say that this is what our system would do. So I'm just going to pass that on to the next person as far as coronavirus goes.
Good job, Justino.
Coronavirus impact. That was nice of you to pass. Brian, you're up.
Yeah. We're along the same lines as Nick, but keep in mind that a drone can go and drone never gets sick. It can fail as far as mechanics go, or it can be grounding. When a hurricane comes through, but you're not going to be working as a human being in that regards either. We can have a team of drones going around a perimeter and searching, autonomously identifying signatures of human beings, recognizing that it is a human being, and relaying that information back. It doesn't get sick. When manpower gets low, the drones are still available. You can always add more to them, more to their numbers. It's just, since we are in a crazy time of coronavirus, and it's going to limit personnel is what its threat primarily is, limiting security personnel. The drones don't have that issue. You just add more to them and they do their job.
I would like to give this opportunity, if there's any more questions from the audience. We had one more about like levels of security, of retreating to different portions, and another one about automated systems being operated by contractors or military. So if you guys want to answer one of those, but also given the short amount of time we have left, if there's any other comments you would like to give about your systems, how it can help Tyndall especially, but also bases and communities of the future, feel free to chime in. Each of you take about a minute right now. Justino, take it away first.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
So Tyndall Air Force Base was destroyed by a hurricane. In fact, right now, today, there's hurricanes, and the spaghetti tracks actually takes one of those tracks actually down below Florida and right toward the base. So when it comes to, we're the only system of its type on the planet. There is no other system on the planet like this. And when it comes to the base, we're going to be spending a lot of money to be able to protect that base and to build that base. And as in North and South Carolina last year, they had finished $1 billion project in their sand dunes and stuff like that in June, and they lost 100% of their investment in September to another hurricane. So we can't afford not to at least look at wave killer, because hurricanes are a reality, and our reality is on TV today, looking at that area.
Thank you, Justino. Brian?
All right. Sometimes I speak before I'm talked to. So the simple fact of using UAVs, and whether it be our system or whether it be somebody else's system, the military, the DoD, the Air Force specifically needs these systems. It's a matter of time before they get fully integrated into the military. It's a matter of time before that a group comes along and makes them absolutely safe. We believe that we have got that solution. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, we're drone agnostic, so we can take anybody's drone and put it on board this system. Somebody asked in the chat window, is there a plan to add LiDAR capabilities? Any drone can be associated with the system, and the things that make it fully automated are all built in already into what we call our artist robot. And we can take any drone and let that thing be completely automated, whether it be for security, whether it be for rapid airfield damage assessment, whether it be for finding somebody that's breaching, whether it be a bash scenario coming in and finding birds, whether it be fire response, and whether it be our drones associated with that system or Chartis drones associated with that system, anybody can come along and add their particular system in with the artist. The thing that we do at our company is we make the drone systems continually operate, respond to alarm systems, and bring that drone in, swap its battery, or house that drone. That's essentially what we do as our company. Thank
you, Brian. Nick, close this out here. I'll give you 10 more seconds at the end to close it out. But Nick,
absolutely.
Comments?
So the one thing that I'm always challenging people to think about, and trying to, I guess it's maybe some education as well, is think more about drones than just a video camera in the sky. These are tools, these are vehicles, these are things that can do work. We want to put the drones to work. And that's what we're aiming to do at Periscope Aviation and at Chartis, is to put these drones to work with heavy lift capabilities. So the gentleman asked, or the panelist asked about LiDAR. Absolutely. LiDAR, radar, heavy sensors. We always have the difficulty of, I can't find something, we're looking for things that are heavy, too heavy to put on our drone. For a small UAV, we're putting more things on them than anybody thought was possible. The other key thing is we can do that OCONUS, and we can do that in controlled airspace and get up to hundreds of pounds. Not a big deal. The bigger thing is when you're on US soil and you have to comply with FAA regulations, is keeping under that 55-pound weight limit. Our Mark series is extremely lightweight. So it's a 19-pound drone that can lift 100 pounds. So you can figure that out. I mean, we're one of the smallest aircraft that can lift so much weight, which keeps you under that 55-pound threshold. So I'm challenging people, please come to us with things that you want us to try to put on there. We're putting on, we mounted an LRAD system the other day, a long-range acoustic device, just to see if we could do it. It's a 35-pound LRAD, put it on there, and you could hear the LRAD from 3 miles away. We're not sure what we're gonna do with that yet. It was somebody that had us ask us if we could do it, so we did. But think of drones as and UAVs as a vehicle, as a mechanism, as a tool to do your mission, less just a video camera in the sky, because there's so much more that possible to do with them. And that's what we're trying to do at Periscope.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. So we are at the end of our time here. Amazing how fast 25 minutes goes. One last closing word from each of you guys, 10 seconds, but just for the audience, you guys can go back to AFWERXfusion.com. That's where all the next programming is happening. I believe there's some workshops and other things coming up right after this. So AFWERXfusion.com. Last 5 seconds from each of you, Justino, Brian, Nick.
Wave Killer is a air perimeter wall. It'll be able to kill the ocean's waves, be able to keep oil spills contained, be able to, there's so many things. It's more than 5 seconds.
Excellent.
I'll get
Thank you. Brian?
Come see us at our booth. We'd love to talk to you about customizing your solution. Come see us and we'll talk about base security and a myriad of other things.
Excellent. Yeah, don't forget the booths. They'll be open multiple times this whole week. And Nick, bring us home.
Same thing. Please come to our booth. We'll show you video footage. We can talk more about the aircraft. I have some aircraft here that we can show you. But come to the booth. And if you have questions on high performance tactical UAVs, I think we're the ones you want to talk to.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.